at the work day yesterday. I owe y'all a giant pile of gratitude. Thank y'all for everything with that. Came in this morning and thought, hey, man, how long's the communion table been there? Well, about 12 hours. That's about, or just about 24 hours. Oh, goodness. No, I'm glad we were able to come in here, got a lot done. We were able to we had clothes and stuff left over from where Helene had hit, and we got donations, and we're like, man, what do we do with these? Well, actually, Faith Home, which is a recovery and homeless shelter just down the road, not even 3 miles away, I called them up, and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll use them. I was like, we're here. They said, cool, we'll be there. I was like, all right, awesome. Within minutes, they were out here, and we were loading up, about 2 pickup trucks loaded worth of coats and blankets and shirts and pants and stuff to help out right here in the community. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to see that. Something that was taken up for a whole separate cause is still doing exactly what it was intended to do, helping people who don't have. The other thing is we had about a dump trailer's worth of just junk. So we have about 30 years worth of VBS cassette tapes that kind of had to go away, and we had a mirror that I have no idea where the mirror came from. All sorts of random stuff that I don't think has seen sunlight in many, many years. And then we had our lovely ladies upstairs going through a lot of the storage stuff up there because we wanted to keep anything that we'll be reusing and throw away stuff that there was no way we were going to reuse. So it was kind of fun finding all the treasures. So thank y'all for everybody that participated in that. It was greatly appreciated. And next Saturday, we'll be having the yard sale over here at the church. We'll be starting that at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you have stuff you're bringing here to set up, you need to come here, bring it either the night before or, get here about 7 or so and get yourself set up before 8 because we're trying to start it at 8. One thing I wanted to say was if you have stuff that you're wanting to sell, that you're wanting to sell for yourself, we are providing the venue, and if there's stuff you want that the proceeds will go to the church, let me know, and I'll make sure I have somebody to kind of monitor that because there's stuff we're selling that's that we found here that too good to throw away, but we're not going to use it here, so we're selling some stuff too, and that'll help kind of recoup, some of the AC money and the steeple money, right? So we're trying to make sure that we get kind of the most organization out of it possible, make sure we can give some good stuff out there for anybody who's looking to yard sale on Saturday morning. And maybe each one of y'all can also make a little bit of money and go out to eat later, right? Because I feel like you got to sell some stuff if you're going to go anywhere to a restaurant. So just know Saturday, September 20th, which is this coming Saturday, is when that yard sale will be. The yard sale will start at 8 a.m. Now, if it is raining, don't worry. We have backup plans. We have a wonderful fellowship hall that I think has room for most of the stuff people's going to be bringing. So if it's raining, that's fine. You can shop indoors with air conditioning because it works. Really appreciate everything y'all been doing, and we got a lot more stuff coming up because there's still plenty of work to do around here, around the church, that we're looking forward to getting done. Hopefully next work day we're going to be tackling the patio out here where those tiles have busted loose. And then maybe one day we'll have a bathroom stall with a door on it that you can fit in there and still close it. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff, and if there's anything y'all notice while we're out and about inside the church working on stuff, make a note, send it to me, because maybe I got the same thing written down, maybe I don't, but you know what, if you notice something, send it to me so that way I can put it on the list, because we're wanting to get some stuff looking good around here, and I want to see the house of God looking all shiny and good again, all right? I want to think, is there any other, I know we got Monday night Bible study will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We got Wednesday night service also at 6 p.m. for the kids. Don't forget, every Sunday at 10:30, we try to get in here, get the coffee pot going. Brianna's done a wonderful job with that. We want to thank her for that. And just remember, there's a donation spot in the coffee room. The more you give, the better coffee we buy. That's all I'm saying. You want the good coffee? Feed the machine. So that being said, I really appreciate everybody. I know I've said that like 5 times, but I'm just kind of blown away with how much stuff we was able to get done yesterday because, I mean, y'all work circles around me. I'm over here hobbling trying to keep up. Meanwhile, I got, some of you who were sweating head to toe, and y'all were just zinging around, and I was like, man, I don't even know where they went. And we had lovely flower arrangements made and stuff too, so appreciate that hard work. Any other announcements that I failed to mention? All right, got it all on the first try. Hey, look at there. Maybe my memory's getting better. Maybe we have fewer announcements. I'll let y'all decide. Brianna, why don't you come up here and give us a good song?
Y'all can stand and worship with me.
Surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called me by my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God, and I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am surrounded by the arms of the Father. I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated from our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters
appreciate that song. And Brianna, you did an awesome job on it. This morning, we're going to be switching things up just a little bit. We've been covering the gifts of the Spirit, and don't get me wrong, I intend to go back into that. But we're going to take a brief sabbatical. For this week, given that the week we've had, I feel pressed to be a little more poetic this morning. I don't claim to be a poet. I don't claim to have a gift of writing. But I think this morning we're just going to be a little different because this week was a little different. I know many people are angry. Many people are upset. Many people are sad. Many people are grieved. And unfortunately, a few of them are happy. There's a lot of ways that we could feel about the situation. The man inside of me wants to solve a problem. And that part of me wants to solve that problem as violently as the problem was started. I think one of the ways we see God work in us the most is when we see the person we used to be before Christ come back. When you see the person you were try to come back out and take over the person you are. This week, there wasn't fires getting set to buildings. Molotov cocktails were not getting thrown into police academies. Nobody had to run, hide, lock their doors, and hide in a closet. The world grieved. We chose to grieve a loss, and many people have instead used that loss as inspiration. I am very proud of my Christian brethren around the world who have decided not to take up arms of violence, but instead to sow seeds of change. To continue what one man started in the name of Jesus. I'm going to read a story this morning, and I just hope it does something for you. Then we'll get into the message. A young kid settled into his guidance counselor's chair. The words, "Ivy League schools aren't interested in scores like yours," echoed in the room. At least that's what the person who was there to guide him said. And she wasn't wrong. His SAT score was respectable, but not enough to open up the gates of Princeton, Yale, or Cambridge, or Harvard. But the loud young man replied, "I'll just let them decide that and see what happens." And they did decide, with a resounding no to every request he wrote. So he shrugged and decided to sign up for community college, but it wasn't long before the people he was paying to give him the answers to the questions he had seemed to have no answers at all. So he figured, why am I paying them to not answer any questions that I came here to find out? Now, most people at this point in their life, they would probably just go on about their days, maybe pick up a trade, find a way to earn income and live their quiet life. But this young fella named James was loud and persistent, and that's not the way he wanted to do things. No, he walked away from community college only to spend his life going back into universities over and over and over again. They denied his patronage, but now they were his workspace. He set up folding tables in courtyards, passed out flyers in cafeterias, and started conversations in hallways. Professors bristled, administration sighed, but yet students kept coming back. Why? Some believed because it was a fire. Some believed it was just for the thrill of seeing people yell at each other. Who knows? What we do know is that James believed that to be silent was to be submitted, and he was not about to submit but anyone but God. So he started a club, started small and attended club meetings and group meetings and found other like-minded classmates and friends, and soon enough, friends told friends and classmates whispered guess what to each other between classes, and it wasn't long before more and more people listened. Some with clenched jaws and closed fists, and some with an open heart and open mind. Not everybody listened, sure, but enough did. It wasn't long before the spotlight was shined on young James. Interviews and conferences soon were inviting him, the loud young man, to be there and be present and be loud again in front of an audience. He wasn't an expert in a tweed jacket with footnotes and a tenure. He was just the outsider saying things that made people ask the question, why? And, oh, that does make sense. As it became more and more apparent that this was not just a passing thing, the fire grew. And as the fire grew, as fire does, it spreads. Soon it became a movement that they hoped would pivot a country. Along the way, he built more than just a movement. He found a young woman who saw his vision for the future and thought enough of him and what he saw that she wanted to help him out. So after he gave her his last name, his best friend became the mother of his children. For all the noise of the stage and the attention of the press, it wasn't what he cherished. No, it was the hand held in prayer, rocking a baby at 2 a.m. in the morning because they wouldn't sleep, getting greeted at the door when he came home with words like, "Hold me and pick me up." As quickly as it all had started, it ended in a similar fashion. Not quietly in his bed from old age, holding his wife's hand, but with a clap of thunder created by cowardice. While doing the thing that defined him to the world, his life was snuffed out. He never paused or shied away from sharing boldly the truth and reason of his life, which was telling those that yelled at him, cussed at him, and spurned him that Jesus loves you. And those with questions that no one else gave them the answers to, well, he did his best to find those answers and share them with a perspective only he had through the knowledge of Christ. He was challenging, pushing, and loving, refusing to let silence separate the people of the nation he called home. He was called a loud young man, reckless and a dropout who refused to go away quietly, an agitator and an orator, an organizer and a troublemaker. To his kids, he was called Dad, to his wife, Honey. But to the rest of the world, James was better known as Charlie. And the organization movement he started, you probably know it better as Turning Point. At least that's the way I heard it. In that example that we were given from a life well lived, although it was short, we can pull from the Bible and say that, man, he really did shine a light into this world. which is exactly what I have felt led to talk about this morning. There are plenty of biblical examples of this. The first deacon of the church was stoned to death, and the guy that watched it happen later became the writer of half the New Testament. We can see where Peter constantly put himself in predicaments where he was beaten and imprisoned and gave everything he could to the cause of Christ. But there's something about when we look at all these stories we know well from Scripture and examples, and then we see it happen in real life, in real time, right in front of us. Because I don't know about y'all, but on September 11th, it seems like every fifth or sixth video that came on social media was of that scene. I heard stories from concerned parents who said, my 14-year-old just watched this happen and now she just won't come out of her room. I do not believe that it was a good thing that people so young were exposed to so much. But I will say that the fact that it happened publicly is probably what will cause his life to spark something more than he could do alive. I know that I take solace in the fact that he's not in any pain. He made it very clear where he was going to wind up. But my heart goes out to his wife and kids. Charlie was 31. I'm 31. He had 2 young kids. I have 2 young kids. When this all happened, I looked over at my wife and I was like, I just don't know what, like, I can't imagine. Like, how does a family recover from that? Now, she looked at me and said, I guess it's a good thing you're not as popular as he was. I said, yeah, that probably is a good thing. She said, because I'd be a woman on a mission, I'd be killing somebody. I was like, that's my wife. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, if you got your Bible with you. Let your light shine, or let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus stood there on top of the hill and declared to everyone gathered these words. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they that may see it see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. This world is full of darkness. I don't think any of us can argue that. This world has enough going wrong in it that we ain't got to look for that part. But what I can tell you this morning is that if you live your life the way that God has set you up and put you in His will to do, that you will be a light. You see, you need to understand what darkness and light have in common. Better yet, let me say this, that how their relationship works. You need to understand that darkness is not a consuming thing. It's the absence of another. Darkness has never been able to consume light. But the absence of light will always lead to darkness. I had a chance a few years ago to spend some time with some friends up in Tennessee, and we decided to go to some caverns. Y'all ever been up into the caverns up around Tennessee, North Carolina, anywhere? Y'all ever been in those giant caves? No? Man, you missing out. Tell your mama next time y'all go, take you. It'll be worth it. They'll have fun. So I went to this place, if I remember right, it was called Tuckasegee Caverns. I could be a little off on the name. Definitely probably off on pronunciation. So we walk in, and he begins telling us about this cavern. He begins telling us, like, yeah, this guy back in, like, 1930s, 40s, he's like, he was playing around in his backyard as a kid, fell in a hole. Hey, there's a cave in Grandpa's pasture. That 8-year-old kid started coming back with a shovel and a lantern every day after school for years. He kept exploring it. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when my daughter's 8 years old, I really hope she doesn't discover a cavern and start digging in it. I think this goes to show people just built different back then. So anyway, he keeps on and expands and expands and expands, and now there's over a football field worth of a cavern over there you can go look at, with an underground river with fish in it. So our guide was walking us through, and he's telling us all this, and I'm like, man, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. And we see this stalagmites, stalactites, we see them going up, we see them coming down. Makes me think about the flood and how the pressure just caused all that to happen, because it didn't take millions of years. We'll talk about that when we get into creation at some point. But I'm looking at this wonderful, amazing miracle of creation that only happens under certain conditions, and it's right here in Tennessee. And I'm looking at all this, like, man, this is awesome. Well, then the guide scurries over across this bridge to the other side of the cavern, and we're in this big open room that's larger than the church sanctuary, a good bit larger. He's like, hey, I'm going to show you something. Don't move. Now, I don't know about y'all, but whenever I hear somebody say, I want to show you something, don't move, I'm generally looking for an exit. Because I got kind of the best friends that I have no idea what they're going to pull out, all right? So what he does is he cuts the lights off. Now, I have been out in the woods, in the holler, under a new moon. I thought I knew darkness. Because I can tell you, under a new moon in the middle of the woods, in the mountains, we didn't know, she's from my neck of the woods. It get dark. It get real dark. My grandma would say plum dark. All right, that's what we're talking about. You hold your hand up in front of your face, and you're like, I think it's there. Well, y'all, when he turned the lights out of that cave, there's a complete, total absence of light. I'm talking, I could touch my face, and my eyeballs wouldn't even know to react to my fingers coming at them. I mean, it was that dark. There was no visible light in the cave. One of the things that happens to people that explore caves is if they lose their light, they have no way of actually getting out. In that moment, I understood what it meant to be in a place absent of light. We live in a world today that is trying to put those lights out. There are people willing to do horrible, cowardly things to flip that light switch so that no one brings light to the people trapped. This week, I saw people in Maui, I saw people in Uganda, I saw people in Spain, I saw people in London, I saw people all over the world. Millions of people who said that one light may have been extinguished, but the light will not be extinguished. It gave me so much hope for the future of not just this country and nation, but also this world. At one point during Elijah's ministry, He was hiding from King Ahab in a cave, crying that he wanted God to kill him because he was the only one left. Y'all familiar with that story? The man outrun a chariot, by the way, to escape to that cave. Just so y'all know just how much this guy's life was at danger here. But God told him, he said, Elijah, I have 150,000 men that haven't bowed their knee to Baal. You're not alone. I think this week I got a glimpse of how Elijah felt. Because I was starting to come to a place where I'm like, my goodness, there has to be something better. Something has to happen. Something has to give. Something is wrong with the things that are happening in our country. There's got to be more people. And so I looked at all these people who not burning down cars, not lighting police cars on fire, okay? Not burning down buildings, all right? They wasn't setting up a whole freedom warlord state in the middle of, a city. They wasn't trashing places they went. They actually picked up trash. Instead of causing this riot and this ruckus and this trouble and turmoil and confusion, millions of people just said, we miss him. And we're not going to stop serving God because he didn't stop. There has been an example through the ages of so many men who have been willing to say, I'm not going to stop no matter what. And people close to them seeing what happened to them, horrible things, and saying, I'm not going to let it stop. Every time the Christian church comes under persecution in Scripture, the church grew. So I'm not trying to be negative this morning. I want to point out the fact that what somebody meant to end something, I firmly believe, church, we're about to see something get started. And I'm ready for it. And I want all of us to be ready for it. You see, the purpose of light, according to James chapter 2, verse 8, it says, yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show you my faith with my works. You see, the thing about light is that it is something that produces. If I put a wick and some oil inside of a lantern and I light it, the lantern isn't making the light. The lantern is carrying the light. And so it is with all of us. You didn't make the light, Jesus did. All God is asking of us, all Jesus told us to do when he was sitting on that hill talking to all those people, was to say that you are the lantern. You're the one carrying the flame. I'm the light, the truth, the way. But it's going to be your feet that carry me to the people that don't know me. So I ask you this morning, are you going to be a lantern that carries that light? That's what I want to know. Are you going to be a person who is willing to be a vessel so that God can work through you? Because let me explain something. Although we do trust in God and I believe he wants the best for us, we need to understand that sometimes his plan may be you get shot in the neck. Because your death may bring about thousands of people getting saved. Sometimes his plan is not a nice, family-friendly ending. Sometimes his plan is not for you to get that Ferrari you wanted. Don't get me wrong, I like fast cars. There's a reason I don't have any. Well, one of them's kids, but the other one is because I don't think it's in God's plan for me to have a car that goes 150 miles per hour because I don't really trust myself in it. Lisa's over there elbowing Willie a little bit. So, yeah, that's why we got a V6 Mustang. For those of you all don't know, Austin's a bit of a speed demon. He's back there going like, boo. What we need to understand is that we were not called and put into this life to live comfortably. Matter of fact, I think comfort is the thing that defeats more Christians than anything else. People are willing to give up security for comfort. People are willing to give up freedom for comfort. People are willing to give up so many things just for the sake of being comfortable. Every time I get comfortable in ministry, something is lacking. Guys, it's not comfortable to stand before a crowd and talk. It's not comfortable to be the person responsible for the spiritual wealth and I can't even talk. Spiritual health and welfare. Didn't know what was going to come out there for a second. Of a group of people. It's not comfortable. But what I can tell you is that God put me here. What I can tell you is I would not want to be anywhere else. Because although I don't feel comfortable, what I do feel is empowered. What I do feel is God telling me, well done, keep doing it. What I do feel is God encouraging me every time I slip, every time I fall, every time I wonder, can I do this? I'm going to conclude with this a little bit. Last night I sat in my recliner as I was looking over everything, and Lorelei thinks my legs are a jungle gym whenever I have them propped up. So I'm watching her play on me like a jungle gym while I'm trying to read and go over some of this. And some questions hit my head, and I'm like, oh, I can ask Dad. And I realized, no, I can't. Because right now he don't really know the question I'll be asking. Nor really be able to give me much of an answer for it. And so I sat there and realized that my best and favorite mentor isn't really somebody I can go to anymore. I have to rely on what he's already told me. And those of you who have lost your dad, you know what I mean. Do I have other people in the faith that I could call and ask for advice? I do. But I feel like I can't be as real with them as I can be with my dad. I feel like I can't talk to them the same way I talk to my dad. And I know I won't get the same advice that I'll get from my dad. And so I thought on that for a minute. And I've come to the point where I realize at 31 years old, one day I'm going to look around to talk to a mentor and there won't be none left. But there'll be some young kid looking at me asking for advice. I don't feel ready for that. I feel like there's so much more I need to know, so much more I need to understand, so much more I need to get a hold of. But it's going to happen one day regardless. At some point, every single one of us if God leaves you here on the earth long enough, something's going to happen in your life, and you're going to be like, man, I need to talk to somebody. And the only person to talk to is going to be God. But there might be 10 other people that week that called you up with a life crisis, who need help because they're where you were, they're at the spot where you were 30 years ago. As I sat there in my chair and I just contemplated that and mulled it over, I got lost in my thought. Dads, y'all ever had something on your mind and you just get completely lost in it? Forget about what's going on around you? Ladies, I'm sure y'all have too. Then my little girl looked at me and giggled because she had just figured out how to get both her legs up on top of mine at the same time without falling over. And I realized in that moment, whatever happens, I'll be ready for it when it happens. But for right now, I'm getting to play with my little girl, which is something not everybody gets to do. God reminded me not to be buried down with the future. Turns out He's got a plan for that. It's up to all of us to shine our light now while we can mentor, while we can talk, while we can ask questions. So that one day when I'm gone, she's going to be able to talk to her kids and give them advice. Hopefully she'll do a little better than me, and my grandkid will do better than her, and so on and so forth. After all, that's the goal of every parent, right? You raise them to leave and be better than you were. And so, let your light shine. Not unto men, but for God. Amen. Before we close the service, I just want to ask, is there anybody here that wants prayer for something going on in their life? Anybody have a prayer request this morning? His mom? We'll be praying for them. I know it'll be a bittersweet thing. Yeah, I know ever since I've been here, she's been sick. But I know talking to Jeremy about it, he said she's ready whenever God calls her home. So we'll be praying for comfort and peace during this time. Anybody else?
My cousin Michelle and her sister just recently lost her mom. She's the one that's having the most trouble with it.
Okay.
And she is sometimes struggling with alcohol abuse. So I hope that she's able to get through this hard time and be there for her daughter and her stepson.
Grief will often cause the worst of us to come out. So we'll be praying for them. Anybody else? Will do. Remember Emily and Liberty? Liberty started to have a little bit of a cough this morning, so we're hoping she don't get sick, but she might, and that Emily will recover quickly as well. Anybody else? I don't want to miss nobody. I told you not to push her. I'm just kidding. Chris would never do that, y'all. So we'll be praying for her. I know how that feels. It's no fun. So I'll make sure we send her a little bell so she can ring it to get your attention. And sound like a plan? Suddenly you're working late, right? Oh, goodness gracious. So y'all remember her after Chris pushed her? Anybody else? Look, y'all can laugh a little bit this morning, okay? I promise. Chris has a sense of humor. He's not mad at me, right? Fair enough. How's Nikki's dad doing, by the way? Same? Good. Anybody else? Oop, don't want to miss nothing. All right. Brother Brian, would you mind praying over these requests and closing out the service this morning?